All right, good evening everybody and welcome back to Walks and Wall Street. And on today's New York City neighborhood walking tour, we are going to be starting off at 66th Street Lincoln Center and walking all the way down to 34th Street Penn Station. So currently we are on Broadway or I should say Columbus Avenue and West 64th Street. We are going to be headed over towards Broadway and going all the way down to Columbus Circle, 59th Street. We're going to be seeing some notable buildings, some notable hotels, some new developments as it relates to Class A office towers in the city, and much, much more. So let's get started on this walk. Now, right off to the right, this is the main entrance to New York City's Lincoln Center. Very famous for its music, ballet, jazz, and much more. And very close, you actually have the Juilliard School of Music, which is one of the best music schools in the entire world. During the summer, they actually just took this down. Used to be the world's largest disco ball and disco floor right here. Also during the summer, they have outdoor live opera. So the operas that are going on live inside Lincoln Center, they will actually set up a projector and project them live for the public to see for free. So you'll have a bunch of folding chairs, stand-up chairs, and that is in the month of August. This is the main fountain at Lincoln Center, but if you look all the way through the sort of passageway here, that's the New York Public Library. And then to the right is the Juilliard School of Music. If we turn our attention over to the left, this brand new glass building in the distance is Fordham University. Now, this is not their main campus. The main campus of Fordham University is in the Bronx. This is the graduate school, so Fordham Law, and this is their brand new campus, which is right next to Lincoln Center, which is perfectly placed. You have great transportation. At 66th Street, you could take the one train downtown, or you could just walk to Columbus Circle where you can get many, many more trains, uptown or downtown. This is the box office where you can go and purchase your tickets. And you can go in the Met Opera shop. And all the way in the back there is the New York Public Library. This outdoor space is currently closed, but it's really nice, particularly during the summer. You can hang out up there, have lunch, have some dinner, have a cup of coffee, and enjoy the views of New York City. It is closed, but if you walk up there and you look southbound, you can see all of New York City's Billionaires Row. The tallest building you see in the distance is Central Park Tower. That's one of the newest buildings on New York City's Billionaires Row. And the penthouse is listed, well, was listed for $250 million, but they've just slashed the price about $100 million. This is the entrance to the Lincoln Center Theater. And if you choose to go over the walking bridge here, this will take you directly to the Juilliard School. You could actually see some of the students in here right now. So the Juilliard School, that's one of the main entrances. This is a restaurant that's underneath the outdoor space. And since we're here, we might as well walk over the bridge. This is the main pedestrian bridge that will connect the two campuses. There's also a notable high school in the distance. This is MLK High School, or Martin Luther King Jr. Let's go over the walking bridge. From the top of the pedestrian bridge, we are now looking west. It is a little bit cloudy and rainy today, but you could still see all the way to New Jersey, as well as the Hudson River. And then if we turn around, this is looking towards Central Park. So that's Columbus Avenue, merges with Broadway, and then you have all of Central Park West. The entrance to Lincoln Center Theater, as well as the entrance to the Juilliard School. So we are now officially on the campus of Juilliard. And overlooking southbound, you have these magnificent views of New York City's Billionaires Row. Now the building all the way on the left, that kind of looks like a stairway, it's nicknamed the Stairway to Heaven building, that is the Steinway Tower. And the Steinway Tower was, the architect is Shop Architect. It is the skinniest residential apartment building in the world. The big one right here is Central Park Tower, which was developed by Extel. And then the one directly in front of it is 220 Central Park South, developed by Vornado, so Steve Roth's company. Now, Extel and Gary Burnett also did a couple other projects, particularly most notable as we head back over the walking bridge here. They pioneered the first building ever built on New York City's Billionaires Row, called 157. So 157 West 57th Street. It is a luxury condominium, but it also houses one of the most luxurious hotels in the city, called Park Hyatt. Now, if you purchase a unit at 157, you have access to all of the amenities of the five-star hotel, such as the saltwater swimming pool, the gym, the spa, and there's even a hair salon inside the building which is pretty cool, and 24/7, 365 room service. But what do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. Do you like the Lincoln Center sort of area here in Manhattan? I think it's very beautiful. Even though it's rainy and it's kind of gross out, I think the neighborhood looks quite charming. And this is all real grass, by the way. Okay, we are now exiting Lincoln Center, right outside of the very famous Hotel Empire. And in the lobby of the Hotel Empire on the right-hand side, you'll have PJ Clark's, which is a very famous New York establishment. But we are going to wait for the traffic here and cross Columbus Avenue and go over to Broadway. Okay, let's cross. Now we are going to be headed east. And right as we get to Broadway, you're going to notice a little bit of a restaurant row here. You're going to have multiple restaurants, cafes, coffee shops, and they're all very strategically placed right outside of Lincoln Center. So if you want to go to the Smith, if you want to go to Cafe Fiorello, you can have your dinner, have your lunch, and then very conveniently, you can catch your show or your ballet or your opera. So we are now making the official transition to the Upper West Side, or from the Upper West Side of Manhattan to the Midtown Central Park South neighborhood. We are currently walking southbound on Broadway. We are about to pass 62nd Street, and this is going to run us right into the main 59th Street Columbus Circle. We're going to see some very notable buildings here in a minute, which we'll point out. I think most notably is actually the one coming up right to our left. This is one of the most luxurious and sought after New York City condominiums, and it's right in front of us. So this is the south side of 15 Central Park West. This is also nicknamed the Limestone Building. And what's unique about this building, it was completed in 2008 during the depths of the financial crisis, and even still, it set record after record after record, and it has attracted some of the most famous names from Wall Street investment banking tycoons to hedge fund managers, private equity, venture capitalists, and even athletes, including Derek Jeter at one time, or Alex Rodriguez, at one time. And I believe Denzel Washington also has his primary residence, or one of his many residences, in the building. Now, since the channel is named Walks in Wall Street, I believe the CEO of Citi has a place here, and former CEO of Wall Street megabank Goldman Sachs, Lloyd Blankenfein, has a unit here as well. As we make a left on West 61st Street, you'll see the main entrance, which is sort of like the valet parking for the building. So if you have a chauffeur, personal or private, you could have them drop you off in your roundabout driveway, just bordering Central Park. It's coming up here in a moment. This is one of the most secure full-service buildings in the city, very strategically placed right on Central Park West. Okay, so here it is. This would be your private driveway, mainly for valet. Your car would drop you off, and then depending on which side of the building you live, you would just walk through the little rotunda to get to your apartment. Really beautiful. The architectural integrity of the building is really unmatched here at 15 Central Park West. Again, these really gorgeous walkways here. So this is the front entrance to 15 Central Park West. You can sort of notice all of the black cars, the security, the Chevy Suburbans, the Maybachs, the Range Rovers that are all parked outside of 15 Central Park West. Probably the chauffeurs dropping off the tenants or the residences of the building. I'd like to point out one more notable building here on the corner of West 61st Street. Now, the building that we're looking at right now is 1 Central Park West. A very iconic address, right? 1 Central Park West. This is the Trump International Hotel and Tower, and there's 3 distinct entrances to the building, which we will walk through and point out here in a moment. The one all the way on the right is going to be the entrance for the private residences. So if you wish to buy a condominium or you wish to rent, you are going to walk up the first set of stairs here on the right. Now, in the middle is going to be the walkway into the luxurious 5-star hotel, and all the way on the left is a Michelin star restaurant, Jean George's, which is very iconic to New York City. I believe they also just opened up another location near the Tin Building, I believe South Street Seaport. So as you can see here, this is the entrance to the private residences at 1 Central Park West. As we walk over a little bit more, this is the entrance to the hotel, the International Hotel. And then last but not least, you have your private entrance to a Michelin star restaurant. Now again, if you wish to purchase or rent in this particular building, you will have access to all of the 5-star amenities, from the swimming pool to the gym, and even the restaurant that provides mostly 24/7 service around the clock. Now, one of the reasons why I like Central Park West a little bit more than living directly on Billionaires Row is for the following reason. Now, imagine living in 15 Central Park West or 1 Central Park West on a very high floor. Not only will you have unobstructed views overlooking the entirety of Central Park, but you could take in all of the beautiful architectural integrity of every single new building on Billionaires Row, from the Steinway Tower to 157 to 220 Central Park South and Central Park Tower. And you can't really see it right now because it's so cloudy, but depending on what floor you're on in these buildings, you could see all the way to 432 Park Avenue, which was developed by CIM, but it's also a Harry Macklow project. And we have now officially made it to 59th Street, Columbus Circle. This is one of the busiest subway entrances or terminals in the entire city. You could see all of the passengers getting off the train right now, probably going to work. As we moved over a little bit, if you look right behind the JW Marriott Essex House, you could just barely make out the very top of 432 Park Avenue in the distance. Now, if you turn your attention to these main 2 towers right in front of us, this was formerly known as the Time Warner Center or the Time Warner AOL Center, but now it is now called the Deutsche Bank Towers. So if you think about major investment banks, hedge funds, family offices on Wall Street, the physical street of Wall Street really doesn't house much financial activity anymore. Ever since the introduction of algorithmic trading, computerized trading, and quantitative trading, a lot of the investment banks have actually migrated uptown. So Park Avenue and Midtown Manhattan is where you'll find the majority or the lion's share of major investment banks and hedge funds. Now, on Wall Street, the address was 60 Wall. I'll say that again, the address was 60 Wall Street, and that was the last standing bulge bracket investment bank on the physical street of Wall Street, and that was Deutsche Bank. But now, Deutsche, that trades under the ticker symbol DB, has now vacated 60 Wall Street, and they have now moved into the, formerly known as the Time Warner Center right here, which I think was a pretty good move because the neighborhood is much better. It's much more lively up here. There's tons of restaurants, there's things to do. You're very close to, I would assume, some of your clients that may live on Billionaires Row and on the Upper West Side. So I think it was a very strategic move and a good move by Deutsche Bank to vacate 60 Wall Street and now take over the Time Warner Center right here at Columbus Circle. In the basement of the building, you'll have a Whole Foods. There's an entire mall in here. It's really stunning, really beautiful. There's, shops, there's restaurants. You could see shows here. There's even a Michelin star restaurant in here called Per Se that is fantastic. But if I had to make a quick recommendation here, I would recommend this restaurant, Momofuku Noodle Bar. It is very delicious and affordable. But if you're looking to extend the budget a little bit, I would recommend Per Se and even Masa. I did forget to mention, so I think it'll be appropriate just to quickly mention it. In the northernmost tower of the Deutsche Bank Tower sits a 5-star luxurious hotel called the Mandarin Oriental. So in very close proximity here, stretching from 59th Street all the way to Billionaires Row on 57th Street, you have multiple 5-star hotel options. From the Trump International Hotel to the Ritz Carlton on Central Park South, to the Mandarin Oriental right here at the Deutsche Bank Center, and the Park Hyatt, New York, that is inside 157. Now, as we continue to go around the circle here, that is Central Park South. If you walk directly down Central Park South, you will see the New York Athletic Club. But right next to the New York Athletic Club sits one of my personal favorite hotels in the entire city. It is called the JW Marriott Essex House. Now, the architecture of the building is unmatched. It has the classic New York style Art Deco architecture. The lobbies are totally encased in marble and stone. It's a really beautiful piece of craftsmanship, and I'm excited to walk by it today. You also have the ability to purchase units or rent a unit inside the JW Marriott Essex House. The same can be said for the Ritz-Carlton. Now, the Ritz-Carlton Residences, the address is 50 Central Park South. So not to be confused with the address of the actual hotel, there's 2 separate entrances, and you'll see that a lot. It's the same thing with the Plaza Hotel. The Plaza Hotel, which sits at 59th Street or Central Park South and 5th Avenue, there's 2 entrances. The entrance that sits right on Central Park South is the residences. So if you own or rent in the building, you will enter right there. But on the 5th Avenue side, looking at the Apple Store, the GM building, closest to 432 Park Avenue, that is the entrance for the hotel. So this is the Trump International Hotel and Tower that we just walked past. And right beside it is 15 Central Park West that we discussed just a few moments ago, as we officially round the corner to Central Park South. This restaurant is called Maria. It's also another Michelin star restaurant that is unfortunately temporarily closed due to renovations, but it should be open soon. Once we leave all of this scaffolding, we are going to come up on the front entrance of 220 Central Park South. This is one of the most luxurious condominiums in the entire city. with some very notable residences, such as Ken Griffin from Citadel Securities. Now, Ken Griffin just recently moved his entire operation, or his main headquarters, from Chicago, Illinois, down to Miami, Florida. But he does own 3 particular floors of this building, 220 Central Park South. One of the main entrances, which is right here, sits directly on 59th Street, Central Park South. But there's also an additional entrance, which I think looks a little bit more aesthetically appealing, on West 58th Street. And once again, this is a Vornado development. This is a gorgeous shot right here, folks. If you look all the way into the distance, the building directly in front of us is the Sherry Netherland. The Sherry Netherland, however, is unfortunately encased in scaffolding right now, but what a treasure that building is, really. I mean, wow. You know, the reason why I like the Sherry Netherland so much is because of the story of Jesse Livermore, one of the most successful stock market operators in history. Now, if you've ever read the book Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, that was based upon the life of Jesse Livermore, boy plunger. So he would go down to Wall Street and trade in the bucket shops, and then at the end of the day, he would commute all the way back to Central Park South and have a drink in his favorite bar right here in the Sherry Netherland. If anybody's heard of the famous investor Paul Tudor Jones, one of the best position size traders in the world, rumor has it that if you want to, before you start working for Tudor Investments, you have to read and complete that book, Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, that is based on the life of Jesse Livermore. We'll explore that building as well. But first, this is the JW Marriott Essex House. This is the other 5-star hotel that we were talking about. It's part of the Historic Hotels of America. And you come out right at the start of Central Park, which is really beautiful. We were supposed to walk all the way to 34th Street Penn Station today, but we've taken a little bit of a detour, so maybe we will go ahead and reroute our walking path, which is fine. Now you can really see the Sherry Netherland in the distance. You're now passing 106 Central Park South. This is my old building. I would highly recommend it if anybody's looking to move to Central Park South. This building was fantastic when I lived here. It was a full-service doorman building, very clean. I never had any problems. Very, very well maintained. This is now 6th Avenue or Avenue of the Americas. If you continue to walk southbound on 6th Avenue, you'll hit all the way to Radio City Music Hall, Rockefeller Center, right to Bryant Park, which is 42nd Street, and then it'll take you all the way to 34th Street, Herald Square. But I'm gonna turn the camera a little bit northward, and you can see the tallest building on the row here. That is 53 West 53rd Street. That is technically another building on New York City's Billionaires Row. Really, really stunning development there. But this is one of the most famous entrances to New York City's Central Park. You'll see a lot of the horse and carriages, a lot of tourists will go here riding their bikes and things like that. Just obviously not on a day like today when it's a little bit nasty out. And the building directly in front of us is the Ritz Carlton, New York, here at Central Park South. Now, the 50 Central Park South address will house the residences at the Ritz Carlton. Okay, the first door to your right is the residences, 50 Central Park South. And then the door to your right is the entrance to the hotel. You also have another hotel coming up called the Park Lane that was completely renovated during the coronavirus pandemic. It was closed and then completely renovated. And I think they did a fantastic job. The restaurant off to your right is called Sarah Beth's. It is a very famous New York iconic staple. There's also a location on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. It is a little pricey, but if you're just visiting, I think it's worth to try at least once. This is a really enjoyable walk too. So if you're visiting New York City, something really fun to do is just to walk down Central Park South. You have amazing views of all these iconic buildings with unmatched architectural integrity, but you also have amazing views of Central Park. You have the Mighty Bowl. I have one of those on my desk at home, thanks to my good friend. And we have now officially reached the Plaza Hotel and Residences. As we've explained before, these are the residences. So all of the staircases you see here will lead you directly to the residential side of the building. Unfortunately, the Plaza Hotel is covered in scaffolding right now, but I can assure you the architectural integrity of this building is unlike anything in the city. The exact address is 1 Central Park South. Now it's funny because Donald Trump used to own this building, and the address is 1 Central Park South, and the address to his International Hotel and Tower is 1 Central Park West. Those are pretty good addresses to have, right? 1 Central Park South and 1 Central Park West. Definitely iconic addresses to have here in New York City. Look at the detail here, everybody, on these light posts. You have the Plaza Hotel logo and insignia all over the place. It's really beautiful, very, very stunning. Wow. And as we make the right, you'll see the main hotel entrance. Here it is, the main entrance to the Plaza Hotel. You can see all the beautiful crown moldings on the ceiling. And then as you exit the plaza, you can see the iconic GM building, which is directly centered in the shot. Off to the right, you have 432 Park Avenue. And this is the Sherry Netherland that we just talked about as it relates to Jesse Livermore, one of the most famous stock market operators in Wall Street history. Sitting right outside of the GM building is the flagship Apple store here on 5th Avenue. The entirety of the store is actually underground, but the main facade is a pretty big glass cube. We are now looking all the way down 5th Avenue. You can see the luxurious Mandarin Hotel on the corner of West 57th Street, but you still have a pretty big line to get into the Apple Store. Last week we had the official release of the iPhone 15, and CEO of Apple himself, Tim Cook, was here to unlock the doors for the opening ceremony of the iPhone 15 launch and release. You have the flagship Dior store, adjacent to 5 East 59th Street, which is a vacant apartment building. I believe it has 2 retail spaces, 8 office spaces, and it should be going into foreclosure soon. From here you could see the Plaza Hotel, and right behind the Plaza is the Steinway Tower again, amidst all of the clouds and the rain. One more thing, I'll show you something really cool. These sort of benches that you kind of see here, they actually see directly inside the Apple Store. I think they may have closed it off just due to the iPhone 15 release. But those act as little portals that let light into the downstairs of the Apple Store. You could see people shopping. Buying iPhones, iPads. So you have the big spiral staircase that'll take you down inside the Apple Store, but there's a core, which is the elevator. So plenty of handicap access here. But if you all enjoyed today's New York City walking tour of Lincoln Center all the way down to 59th Street, Columbus Circle, and across Central Park South, feel free to join us next time. We upload a video every day of a walking tour of a different neighborhood in New York City. If you're thinking of moving to New York, buying, selling, or renting, and you need a trusted advisor to help you through that process, please reach out to me at the email address below, and we'd be more than happy to help you out. See you all in the next walking tour, and thank you for watching.